Okay, so first, before I go into rejection and the role that it plays in sales, I just have to share one thing. It is completely normal for us to have an experience of fear of rejection. In fact, it would be abnormal to not fear rejection. And here's why we fear it. We fear it because it's an instinctual thing. It's like an old reptilian instinctual thing to fear rejection. And here's why. Back in our caveman, cavewoman days, back in the day when we really relied on community in order to be able to survive from large prey, be able to thrive through efforts of human beings coming together to hunt, to be able to survive the environment, it was absolutely necessary that we be community minded animals. And this is where, I've talked about this before in terms of the people pleasing tendencies. There's an actual instinct in our brains wired into us biologically that has a fear with rejection, because back in those days, our survival instincts, if we were rejected, if we were kicked out of the tribe, we would die. It literally was a life or death type of thing. So I want to normalize the fear of rejection and just say everyone has it and it is completely normal. And I want to start out saying that because I think a lot of times we think that there's something wrong with us, and that actually is a mindset thing that doesn't support great sales, when we think that there is something inherently wrong with us and therefore we can't sell, right? And so another reason we fear rejection is because we equate it with not being liked. And again, this has to do with that reptilian biological response. If I'm not liked, I will die. And the other thing that we actually have a lot more control over is we make it mean something about ourselves. We make rejection mean something about ourselves. We make it reinforce some unsavory beliefs we have about ourselves, like I'm not good enough. If someone doesn't want to work with me, if someone says no to me, if someone doesn't like me, that means I'm not good enough. We make it mean something about ourselves. And the point of this video, and what I want each and every person to receive in terms of the value of this video today, is that when we can detach ourselves from that cave woman, reptilian, caveman, reptilian instinct and actually see things as they are from an objective fashion, we're going to have such an easier time with rejection, so much so that it's not even going to come into how we perform in our sales conversations. It's not even going to enter the equation. So what is rejection in sales? You're having a sales conversation, it's going really well, and then the prospect says no. And it hits you. And you take it personally, and your fear response comes in. Or maybe you are resisting getting on the phone with someone because you are afraid that they will reject you. Or maybe you're resisting following up, or maybe you're resisting talking to people about your offer because you're afraid that they will reject you. There are all of these things that come online that show us what's going on in terms of our relationship with rejection, right? Like, oh, I don't want to call that person. I don't want to text that person. I don't want to reach out. I don't want to do that speaking engagement. What if they don't like me? What if they reject me? Et cetera, et cetera. And yeah, rejection in sales, it's part of what's going to happen. And it's actually a really, really good thing. And the way that I teach sales, it's a two-way street. It's not just the prospect has all the power to say yes or no, to accept you or reject you, but it is absolutely a two-way street. Just as much as the prospect is evaluating you, you are evaluating that prospect to see if they are a fit, right? And so the way that I want to teach this is that in sales, if you're having a proper in my mind, a proper sales conversation with someone who's interested in working with you, you are going to be seen if they are a fit for you just as much as they're going to be seen if you can really support them with what's going on, right? And so these are the questions that I ask, and I hope that this serves you. Feel free to borrow these questions. But if I'm on the phone with someone who is a prospect, I'm asking, is this client coachable? Because if they're not coachable, guess what? I can't help them. If they're not showing up coachable, I can't help them, right? I'm asking, do I like them? Why? Because I have a standard for the people that I work with, and I only want to work with people that I like. And that is really important to me. Why? Because working with people that I like inspires me to do better. My third question is, do I believe the world will be a better place from our work together? And that really helps me identify, does this person align with my own values, right? Are they selling something that I'm like, yes, I so like, oh man, if more people had their hands on this, if you grew a bigger business, if you had a greater impact, yes, the world would be a better place, right? Like, that's another question I ask. And then the final question I ask that I feel is like one of the most supportive questions you can ask yourself as someone who is conducting the sales conversation is, can I powerfully help them? Can I help them get to wherever their point Z is, right? Like, so point A is where they are right now, and point Z is where they desire to go. Can I help them get there, right? And if the answer is no to any of these for me, I don't make an offer. And that might leave the client, you know, when we talk about rejection, that might be like, oh, well, why didn't they make me an offer? They said I wasn't a fit. And I communicate this in a way that's super loving, where people are just like, can I call you again in 3 months because this conversation was just so valuable? And it's a win-win to say no to them, right? And so again, my questions I ask, are they coachable? Do I like them? Do I believe the world would be a better place as a result of our work together? And can I powerfully help them? Do I know without a shadow of a doubt, I can help this person? I can serve this person? And if any of those are no, I don't do it, right? It's not a deal. Why is it not a deal? Because it would not be a win-win-win. And when you're coming from that place, you're coming from a place of deep, deep service. And when things don't align, when I'm not sure, like for instance, I have calls with people and they're just starting up their business, and to be perfectly honest, I'm not a fit for someone who is just starting their business. And so that being the case, let me just jump. I have to wrap this up really quickly. That being the case, they're not going to get what they need out of it. And so what they might be asking in the conversation with you is, do I trust this person? Can they powerfully help me? And will this work for me? Does their coaching style work for me? Does their offer work for me, etc.? And there are two things that are going on here, right? Like, they are seeing if you're the right person to support them, and you're also seeing if they're the right person for you, if you can work with them. And so when we talk about rejection, the reason that there's nothing to be afraid of is because if they're not the right person for you, it is amazing that they don't work with you. Why? Because they're not going to get a quick win from their business. And you make offers, and when you make offers, you mean the offers, and they have absolute integrity. And that creates a quality of work and just a pristine, energetic agreement between you and the other person that is uneffable with, right? And so that's why rejection is so important, because when you choose to say no to people that you can't support, and when they're like, you know what, you don't seem like you're a fit for me for whatever reason, that's magical. It's magical, and it supports you in being a better coach, a better salesperson, a better consultant, and it supports you in getting clear on who it is you can help and how you can help them even more powerfully. I have more to say on this topic, and I've got to jump off. I hope that you found this helpful. Please write in the comments what you got out of this video, and I hope to see you all soon. Bye. Have a great Monday.